Hi, and welcome to Lunch with Lisa, Weekend Treats Edition. And today, I'm going to show you how to make this sour cream strawberry cake. It's Lunch with Lisa. So I used to work at this restaurant downtown, and it was amazing. It made a bunch of pastries and cakes and cookies and you name it. And I worked behind the coffee bar. It was so much fun. And they made this one cake that I bought for Thanksgiving one year called the sour cream strawberry cake. And it just popped into my memory the other day. And so I went on a hunt to figure out, one, what the name was, because I'd totally forgotten. And then two, how to make it. I had to kind of just piece it together. So sour cream strawberry cake. So I figured, okay, maybe it had like a sour cream pie filling, and I looked that up, and that is a thing. And so I'm using kind of that recipe-ish to make that, and it tastes very close. Now, I probably don't know the exact recipe, but I'm just gonna relay to you what I figured out and then share this delicious cake with you because it is so good. You could totally make this any time of year whenever you have access to strawberries. Or you can add something else to it if you want, or leave the strawberries out, but don't, because they're so delicious. It makes it so good. Let's make this cake together. I made this for my birthday this year in October, and perfect treat, perfect. Made it twice. Now I'm gonna make it a third time for Thanksgiving. So totally use this whenever you want. So good. For this recipe, you're gonna need a package of Oreos. Probably go for the family size. You can have a little bit left over to eat. And if you need extra for your pan, I really recommend probably using more than I did, but it works either way. So you're gonna need at least 22 Oreos, up to 30 probably, maybe even 33. It just depends on the size of your pan and how tall you want the Oreo crust. For this recipe, I used about 30 Oreos. You'll need at least 5 tablespoons of butter. For your sour cream filling, you're gonna need a half of a pint of sour cream, or 1 cup, 1 8-ounce package of cream cheese, softened or room temp. You'll need half a cup of sugar and 2 teaspoons of vanilla. And for your topping, you're gonna need at least 2 pounds of strawberries. You'll use this on the inside of the cake and on the top. And you'll need some heavy whipping cream, at least half a pint. First thing you're gonna do is preheat your oven to 350 degrees. We're only gonna use it for about 10 minutes, but go ahead and do that now and it'll heat up by the time you get your crust ready. Pull out your food processor and you're going to dump all your Oreos inside and pulse it until they form crumbs. Now, if you don't have a food processor, you can totally just put all your Oreos into a zip top bag and smash them with a rolling pin until they form crumbs. You don't have to have a food processor for this, but it makes it super easy. Then you're gonna add 5 tablespoons of melted butter to your Oreos and either pulse them in the food processor to combine them, or you can stir them together in a bowl. Then you need a springform pan, and I like to line the bottom of mine with some parchment paper. This springform pan is awesome because it was so easy to place my paper disc down on the bottom, then put the ring around it and squeeze it shut, and boom, all I had to do was cut off the excess with some scissors. I'll leave a link to this pan down below. I love it. It's awesome. I'm so glad I got it. You're gonna dump your mixture into your springform pan and press your Oreo mixture down into the bottom and up the sides as much as possible. I used a measuring cup with a rounded edge to create a nice smooth surface and a nice rounded corner. To prevent your crust from separating on the outside when you cut, you'll want to make a nice rounded edge. You can do it with a spoon or a nice rounded measuring cup. Then you're going to bake the crust at 350 degrees Fahrenheit for about 10 minutes. And once that's done, set that aside and allow it to cool. I like to let mine cool for about 5 to 10 minutes and then stick it in the fridge while I make the filling. While your crust is cooling, go ahead and prepare your strawberries. First thing you want to do is pick out your prettiest strawberries for your top. I picked out 6 because I'm going to make 12 slices out of this cake. It's pretty rich. Figured 12 is pretty good. It gets the calories down to under 500 per slice. Leave those strawberries whole and set them aside. Those are gonna be your toppers. Then take all the other strawberries and just slice off the tops in a nice flat surface because you're gonna place these around the bottom of your cake. So make sure they have like a nice flat top, kind of all the same height. Doesn't really matter, they're strawberries. Put all your strawberries in a bowl and set those aside. Then you're going to take your sour cream, your cream cheese, your sugar and your vanilla and whisk them together until they're smooth. Don't over whisk it because it gets a little runny if you do. Make sure you whisk it until it just comes together and it's still a little stiff. It can even be a little bit chunky. You don't have to get it perfectly smooth. Then you're gonna dump that mixture into your cooled Oreo crust. Then add your strawberries, pressing them down into your cake, flat side down onto the bottom to secure. Then set that into the fridge, let that set up while we make our whipped topping. So you're gonna add whipped cream. I used about half a pint with a quarter of a cup of sugar, about a teaspoon of vanilla, and whisk that together until you get stiff peaks. And then you're gonna add this to a piping bag if you want. If you have one, you don't have to. You could just plop this on top of the cake and add your strawberries to be fine. But you can also use a piping bag to make it look a little bit pretty. So I put as much whipped cream as I could into one piping bag, and then the rest of the whipped cream I just spread on top of my cake using my spatula. And I like to use my piping bag to start in the middle and make a little swirl around the cake. You know, do whatever you want, have fun with it. And then put little places for your strawberries to land around the edge. Doesn't really matter. It's so delicious. And it's gonna look so pretty with these strawberries on it. The strawberries that you saved for the top, just go ahead and slice those in half and put them on top of your cake. It kind of delineates how many slices you're gonna make. So 1 per slice, about 12 slices from this cake. Then let this set up in your fridge for a few hours, maybe 4 to 6, or overnight, or as long as you can stand it. And probably wanna eat this within 3 days or so. So dang good, let's get a piece. So I made this for my birthday. I've already eaten some of it and shared it with some family members. I did kind of overbeat my inside, so it's a little bit on the wet side, but it still tastes amazing. Oh yeah. I just have it on a cutting board, and I like to put some plastic or something to keep it from getting dry around the edges. The top is okay. This is pretty dang close to what I remember it being with the strawberries. The inside was a little bit thicker. I don't know what they did. The person who has the recipe won't give it to me, and I totally understand because it's her living. This is what she does, but I made this up, so I'm gonna share it. Oh, so creamy. It's like a really creamy, nice little tart, kind of cheesecakey taste. With the Oreo crust, so good. And then the strawberries give it a nice little fruity, it cuts through the mixture and just gives it some really bright, fresh flavor. It's so good. If you count the Oreos as 1 ingredient, this is really just 8 ingredients. Just 8. I was kind of amazed when I set all the ingredients out on the counter and realized this isn't really that complicated. I hope you try this out and tell me what you think, because it is my favorite cake. Like, I usually don't put effort into figuring out a recipe to something like this. So this is just nostalgic for me, and I'm kind of impressed with myself for figuring it out. So definitely wanted to share it with you because it is my favorite cake. So enjoy, tell me what you think. Leave a comment down below. Like, comment, subscribe, all that stuff. And if you love this recipe, you're really gonna love this one too. And I'll see you in my next video. It's lunch with Lisa. Testing, testing. 1, 2, 3. Called strawberry cream. No, so you can have a little bit.